Next up, we have Oblivatia Addistam Mori, a Genshin Impact fan soundtrack, fan song. Once again, everybody, this is a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician and composer, and my objective here is to explain things in a way so that you don't have to be one to understand what is happening here, musically. So, if you like the sound of that, make sure you're following the channel, subscribe to the channel, whatever button you use, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, become a member. Once again, everybody, don't forget to join the Discord server, the gaming channel, how to request songs if you're not on the live stream, members getting early access to the content. I have a spiel for this and a bunch of other things at the end of this video, so stick around for that. Disclaimers showing on your screen right now, so go ahead and pause the video to read them in full. Otherwise, please be patient with me. I am acoustic and guitared, so please keep that in mind. Also, at the time of recording, again, we are celebrating 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, so thank you once again, everybody, for being here. We're celebrating two ways. One, I'm going to be giving away 10 copies of Vintage Story. And number two, starting now at 10,000, we're going to start playing some of the games that we check out on the channel. More information, of course, the first two are going to be Just Shapes and Beats, Limbus Company. More information at the end of the video with the whole spiel, so stick around for that. With that,
Hello there.
Let's check this out. Oblivatia Addistam Mori by ayacu57. Let's go. Okay, so we start with a nice and straightforward. We have this plucked string. Sounds not like the koto. It sounds like a guitar of some sorts, a plucked string. Then it's giving us some chords with our initial melody, right? A melody containing our initial motif being the smallest version of your musical idea, the seed, the essence from which everything else comes from. And then we are having some strings, you know, the violin, the string orchestra, violins, violas, cellos, double basses, playing some chords next to that. So let's go ahead and see where this goes. All right, developing nice and slowly. I can hear another thing in the background. Okay, so far we've repeated the idea twice. The nice thing here is that we have a nice and slow melody, which allows you to just spend a lot of time doing these kinds of things. Now, something that is very useful to do, especially when you're doing something slow, is to add variation as you go. Because while repetition is your friend, there is a certain point in speed where adding a couple of extra tidbits here and there will be really useful, and it will sound really cool, right? So with that out of the way, let's just see where this goes. So now we have a variation from a different set of chords. All right. Requests are not open just yet. Requests are not open just yet. Welcome to the naughty list. Let me just write this down before I forget. So we have, there we go. Yes, okay, so right now we are implementing again the same principle. We are now doing a new variation, and we're just repeating it twice. So one of the advantages of doing slow music is that it eats a lot of time. The downside of it is that it's very easy for something to feel repetitive, even if you're not repeating it that often. So this is one of the things where you have to be careful with how you balance your repetitions, which again, you just, if you want to keep the same exact melodies or the same exact motifs, then you just go ahead and add something else somewhere else and add little tidbits and details here and there. Of course, you don't want to overload what you're doing either, so it's a difficult balance to achieve. Let's see where this goes. Because right now, okay, there we go, a little bit of extra variation. Yeah, kind of sounds like a lute. So yeah, now we are bringing a little bit more speed in the melody. Still we are now 1 minute 18 seconds. We still have only those two aspects of these two instruments over here, which at this point we're starting to build. But this is not reflected on the ensemble. So this is where you might want to add an extra flute in the higher up, or adding maybe some of the basses, something like that, to start filling up more of the space. Because one of the things about orchestral music, especially of orchestral music, is that you have a wide range of sounds that you can get from very high up to very low down, and you want to make sure that you explore as much of this as possible, because the absence becomes very loud. When requests are open, when I say they're open, you will know. You will know. All right, so yeah, let's see where this goes. Because now we have a variation. So right now we are engaging in two things. Number one, we are doing some sequencing. Sequencing being when you repeat a melodic idea from a different starting point. And then number two, we are using a type of non-chord tone, which is called a passing tone. So the first version of the melody was primarily doing arpeggios. An arpeggio in the melody, of course, is when you play a chord one note at a time. And this is something that you can then turn into a melody, right? Because here, C minor, for example, here is arpeggiated. And if I wanted to turn it into a melody, excuse me. I just arpeggiated, but now it sounds like a melody. A passing tone is when you add notes between the other tones. So if I were to do this same thing. If I were to add passing tones, I'm going to add notes that are in between, so I could make. So it adds more stuff to this. So we do have this variation over here. And on top of that, we're engaging in a little sequencing. Again, sequencing, you're repeating the same melodic idea from a different starting point. So we're having a combination of these two. However, one of the downsides of composing with orchestral elements is that you really need to either embrace the size of the ensemble. You need to embrace the size of the ensemble that you're thinking of, right? So either you're doing a chamber ensemble, chamber orchestra type of thing that is a small scale ensemble, so you have a handful of instruments that you are dealing with, and it's going to give this small scale sound, or you're embracing the orchestral sound in general. And that comes with the desire of the music to have more of the sounds pop up. Because right now, what we are seeing, if we were to put this in an orchestra, is that we are having, let's bring this image over here. We are having the string section, so we're having the violas and the cellos playing. We have the lute player, so to speak. Let's say the lute player is sitting right here next to the director, and everybody else has been quiet. Everybody else has stayed silent. So you see where not only is this something that you would notice on stage, the more you don't involve the rest of the ensemble, the more the music starts demanding it. And these kinds of demands are very loud. This kind of silence is extremely loud. So yeah, let's see where this goes. Because we're building. There we go. We had some trumpets there. Silence. And we're bringing in a sound of a heartbeat. Okay, learning time. When you're making music, one of the most devastatingly effective tools that you have is silence. However, silence is a double-edged sword. If you overdo your silence, you risk breaking things. YouTube compression makes drums real quiet. It would seem. Not a question, but what are you going to explain the difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance multiplication? Because I want to make sure people follow instructions. Yeah. Anyway, so we are now having the drums slowly coming in. we're doing what is called a crescendo with the drums. A crescendo is when you gradually make something louder, and this is happening over a longer period of time. Let's hear where this goes. We can hear the cellos, some of the other stuff. We're having some arpeggios from what seems to be the lute from earlier. We're having, I think, a piano. Slowly bringing this up. Going up and down the scales. And we're starting to bring some horror elements to this. However, one of the things that that means absolutely nothing. Well then, there's an application now? Yes, Megumi, there is. Yes, there is. Long are the days when you could just be... Yeah. So, right now, it's been, what, about 30 seconds, and we are still doing this crescendo. The pacing that we built during the first minute and a half is completely gone. This might as well be a separate composition, which is why I mentioned the thing about motifs. Motifs are extremely jealous. They are extremely, extremely jealous, extremely temperamental, and if you're not constantly giving your motif attention and the spotlight and everything, you risk your music sounding like they're separate compositions from one another. So yeah, these look like Fate visuals as well. So yeah, now we're having this. Of course, the crescendo is taking a very long time to build. So yeah, there's a point in which things get overdrawn. Let's see where this goes. From the movies? Nice. Which one? So yeah, we're slowly building up. And the sounds by itself are pretty cool. The issue we're seeing over here is that we've been working on this crescendo for nearly a minute and a half now. And the pace that we had at the beginning did not build up to any of this. There is a way to subvert the listener's expectation, takes things somewhere else. However, this is a risk that you take, and when you take these kinds of risks, you risk them not working, which is what we are seeing right now. The pace that we built, it was a very nice and slow pace. We were building stuff, and now it's completely gone. It's completely gone. Let's see where this goes. Okay, silence. High note on the violins. Piano. Slow again. Slowly playing out the melody. Building this up. As ambient music, these are really good. However, the point that I've made is that this no longer feels like the same composition. This feels so far like three separate compositions meshed into one. There is no connective tissue between all of these, which is why I say when you're making music, you need to keep a careful balance between what is familiar and what is new. Too much familiarity, too much repetition, too much of the same thing, you risk boring the listener, they tune out. Too much new material too quickly, you risk overwhelming the listener, they tune out. However, right now we are seeing the a more obscure third way, which is you simply don't relate the material. And right now, I think the piano is starting to sound more like the motifs that we heard from earlier. Like it's slowly building back to this, but it's been, what, 2.5 minutes of that not being the case. So in that sense, I think you could have gone entirely without that whole crescendo, and nothing would have changed, which is something you don't want for your music. If you can just remove an entire section and nothing changes in your music, and that's a lot of effort. So yeah, let's see where this goes. Yes, Megumi got drafted, yeah. So yeah, very nice and soft. We bring back the strings. And there we go. We finally bring back... I think this is a variation. Yeah, variation of the original motif. We have a couple of extra things. We're starting to now fill up. Drafted to become a mod. Yes. So yeah, now we have the vocal samples playing. This is nice. And now we remove everything except the lute. I'm gonna call it a lute. There we go, and we repeat. I think we're gonna go for one more run. Oh, it's a harp. It seems to be a harp with maybe another instrument. There's the flute. Oh, and we're now bringing back everything. Okay, we're bringing back everything with this version. Building up. And you don't resolve. Fuck you. And we don't resolve. Okay, so we end with what is called a half cadence, right? So when you're making music, you're doing one of two things. You're building tension or you're resolving that tension. That point in between we call the cadence. Now, the type of cadence that I'm talking about is called the half cadence. A half cadence is when you build the momentum, you build the expectation, and you intentionally don't resolve it. Usually the cadence is something that you see in the chords, right? For example, here's C over here. Then to G, and then we create the tension, the expectation of going back to C. Half cadence just means we don't resolve. Build the tension, and we leave it there. Why? Because then the cadence can resolve on the next section, on the next track altogether, or it can loop back to the beginning. Because then we can start, right? In the next track, and it works. 3-pack, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Mosh Pit. Welcome today. How you doing? It's a quotation from Hollow Knight. Nice. So in this case, I would say that what we really missed here was pacing. Because at the end of the day, what you want is for your music to breathe. You need to be able to have those inhale, exhale moments. However, in this case, we ended up having the build-up. We build up over here, then we started a massive crescendo. It then cuts off, and then we have another one of these build-ups that ends up in a sudden build-up. So this is not a... there's a lot of risks that you took over here, and I would say it doesn't quite fully pay off. Well, does that sound like a Pechabelle Cannon? I don't know, dude. So yeah, what I would say here is that there's a lot of things you tease in this composition, and unless there's a follow-up composition where everything else here is resolved, yeah, I would say, because at the very end, the very, very end was really nice. The very, very end with the build-up, the flutes, the harp, the strings coming together, which just led me to ask, where was this over the past 4.5 minutes? And that's something you don't want. That is something you don't want your listener to ask. So this was an option, because you can always, you can do a nice, soft, slow piece, but it needs to have its own sense of pacing. It needs to have that breathing to it. And that makes it more tricky when you're making slow music, because everything is going slower. Everything is going slower, which means you have to be more careful how you build. Slow music can be more difficult to make than fast music. So in this case, we are seeing we saw the broken structure to this, and a build-up that led to a half cadence that kind of undermined the rest of the composition, because it showed that this was an option all along. So I would say, yeah, you could cut the crescendo part altogether, and it wouldn't have changed anything. which is not something you want again. So yeah, it didn't quite work. I would say it didn't quite work. It has a lot of very nice ideas there, but you didn't cultivate them. You put the seeds there, and you watered the first seed at the very end. So it didn't quite reach the potential that it showed it had at the very beginning. So yeah, there you have it. That was Oblivatia Addistam Mori, a fan composition for Genshin Impact by ayacu57. Once again, everybody, this has been a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician and composer, and my objective here has been to explain things in a way so that you don't have to be one to understand what's happened here musically. So, if you're watching this on the YouTube video archive thing, thank you for watching. Make sure you're following the channel, subscribe to the channel, whatever time you use. Like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, become a member. Once again, everybody, at the time of recording again, we are celebrating 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, so thank you once again, everybody, for that. We're celebrating in 2 ways. Number 1, I am going to be giving away 10 copies of Vintage Story. Vintage Story used to be a Minecraft mod, now it's its own standalone game. I prefer it, which is why I'm giving away 10 copies of this game. The giveaways are going to be happening on the Discord server in the second half of February, so make sure you've joined the Discord, linked in the description. That is way number 1. Way number 2, we are going to start playing some of the games that we cover on the stream every milestone, so every 5,000 subscribers, so starting 10,000, then 15, 20, 25, so on and so forth. I'm going to start playing some of the games here live on stream. The first 2 are going to be Just Shapes and Beats and Limbus Company. We're going to be playing these games if you're watching on the live stream next week. If you're watching this on the YouTube video, it's going to be the week that these videos come out. So make sure that you have joined the Discord and subscribe to everything and follow everything so that you don't miss the shows. And if you can't, we have the gaming channel, more on that in a second. Make sure that you join the Discord server again, so that's where everything gets announced first, whether it is the videos going up in the channels, the streams going live, updates, projects, giveaways, everything gets announced there first. Of course, we also have the community, we hang out, we chat, we steal memes from other people's servers, claim them as our own, and where I host the Vintage Story community server. I like the game so much, I built a computer just to host the server for it. So, linked in the description, join the Discord server today, become a member of our community. Also share these videos with your friends, with your families, with your family's friends, with your friends' families. Those are 2 very different concepts, by the way. With your online and offline communities, share these videos with everybody that you know. Also use the hype function on YouTube. We have a group on the Discord that coordinates for that, so linked in the description. Join the Discord, help the channel grow. Artists, musicians on YouTube or otherwise, or elsewhere, this is an open invitation. If you want any of my musical skills for any of your projects, whether it is my guitars, Mongolian throat singing, the good old hoo kind of thing, regular singing, voice acting, whatever it is, reach out, let me know, let's work together, let's make stuff, let's collaborate, right? And if you're in the audience and you know somebody that you would like me to collaborate with, reach out, let them know. Please do not harass anyone, please do not spam anyone, be cool about things, don't be a rat. Members get early access to the content. I schedule the videos for the week on Saturdays, and if you're a paid member on YouTube, regardless of your tier, you get access to the videos when I schedule them, at least for the LFAs, so become a member today. If you want to listen to this without me interrupting in 3.5 seconds, I'll be linking in the description down below. If you want to request a song and you're not on the live stream, check the pinned comment on this video. If you are, hang on, we have something to do. And if you want to catch the streams when they happen live, we aim for Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central European Time. We stream live on Twitch, YouTube, and Kick so that you can tune in from whichever platform you prefer. Again, 6 p.m. Central Europe. If you're not in Europe, do not worry. We have the full up-to-date streaming schedule showing in your local time zone in both Discord and Twitch. Another reason to join the Discord. So if you live in Drinkwater and you're like, yeah, but what time is 6 p.m. in Hungary? I don't live there. Don't worry, just go to the Discord or the Twitch, both linked in the description, and it's going to show in your local time zone. And follow the gaming channel. I have a gaming channel because, of course, I have a gaming channel. I'm on YouTube. What else could I possibly have? Games are Bastard. That's where I put the gaming after show recordings when they happen, the VODs for them, recorded live during the main channel's after show and the recordings go here. This is where the Just Shapes and Beats, Limbus Company, and whatever other games we cover, VODs are going to go. So, linked in the description, or just search on YouTube, same username as James R. Bastard, just swap the J for a G, and you got it. And, yeah, there you have it. Oblivatia Addistam Mori. Good lessons there. Good stuff, but, yeah, let's move on.